What's good, YouTube? SlimTv here to put in a good word or two. Today I wanted to talk about give yourself permission to be yourself. Guys, too many of us, we hide ourselves, our true selves, from people. And the reason that is because we care so much about what other people think. And that's a totally separate video. Why you should be yourself and why you should give yourself permission to be yourself is because that is the number one step to self-improvement. See, a lot of these other YouTubers, they come at you with a long list, get in the gym, do this, do that, start a business, X, Y, and Z, but how can you self-improve if you don't know yourself? The reason that you're losing yourself is because you're pretending to be someone that you are not. Guys, I literally did this my whole life, or most of my life, because I cared so much about what other people thought of me, and I felt like I was always being judged and criticized. So in order to counteract that, I created a false persona so that my real self wouldn't be criticized, but maybe the fake self wouldn't be criticized as much. You know what I'm saying? Like, people wouldn't know the real me, so they wouldn't have a chance to criticize me, right? And what that looked like for me, like a good example, like at school, right? At home, I was one way, and at school, I was another. At home, I was a complete nerd. All I talked about was video games. All I did was read manga. I mean, I played Pokemon, Yokai Watch, all that stuff. Even in high school, like, I'm not ashamed of it. But then at high school, I wouldn't say nothing about that. At high school, I just like, yeah, what's up, bro? Yeah, football. And don't get me wrong, I actually like football, but you see my point. Like, I turned off who I really was in order to fit in with the crowd at school. I just totally ignored the things that I loved so that I would feel accepted. And guys, that held me back a lot. Looking back on it, like, if I was really able to articulate myself now the way I do now back then, I think I'd be in a totally different place. And so many situations that I am in now would not have happened because I would have been true to myself from the beginning. See, guys, when you fake yourself, you also put yourself in fake situations, right? Like, for example, at school, it's good to have good grades, right? And it's good to power through it. But one of the things that is heavily pushed is college, right? And some of us, we know deep in our hearts that school is not for us. But because it is pushed so heavily, and because all the other kids are talking about it, and because all the other kids are making plans and we don't want to feel left out, or we don't want to feel left behind, we buy into it. That's just one example. Another example would be smoking and drinking, right? That is something that is heavily pushed amongst the youth. And a lot of us, we know that that's not really for me. But when we get to school or when we get into a place outside of our comfort zone, we put on a mask. And when we do that, we then allow ourselves to do things that we know we wouldn't really even do. And guys, the reason that it is important is because, like I was saying earlier, how can you self-improve if you don't know yourself, right? So when you know yourself, you're gonna realize the good things about yourself. You're gonna realize the bad things about yourself, right? Some of the things that you could work on. And as a human, it is our duty, our utmost duty, to continually improve upon what could be better in ourselves so we can be the best human that we can be. And when we do this, you will also get closer and closer to figuring out your purpose, because then you will realize what you are good at and what you are not. But when we have this fakeness about us, and when we pretend to be someone that we are not, we don't know what we're good at and what we're not good at. Simply because we're pretending to be Jimmy when you're really Joe. You're Joe and you're pretending to be Jimmy, so you're still trying to get to know this Jimmy guy when you don't even know yourself. You don't know yourself. So yeah, guys, that is just very important, because when you start to know yourself, the self-improvement journey will go 10 times easier, because then it'll be easier to find your purpose. And it'll be easier to pinpoint where you need to improve upon. Being fake is something that is heavily promoted in this world. Heavily promoted. Everybody putting on makeup. Everybody, on social media 24/7. And I mean, makeup's not a bad thing, but you know what I'm saying? It's kind of a facade at the same time. But everyone's on social media posting a fake pic. They posting themselves by a palm tree like they in Hawaii, but really they in the slums of Florida. Like, come on, dude. So yeah, guys, real people are needed. We are in short supply, and I would like to add more to our ranks. But like, subscribe, share, and comment. I love you guys. Peace.